welcome to the Sipcast. It is Friday, and every Friday we do our movie minutes. Today it is also Star Wars week, because as you know, Monday was May the 4th, and we've been doing Star Wars all week. If you've been listening, I hope you've been listening every day. If you haven't, you might be lost. Anyways, today in movie minutes, we're not going to talk about the movies that we watched this week. It's exam week. I don't even know if we watched a lot of movies. We've been studying. We've been doing our best to get ahead of this.
Yeah.
Stressful.
Working hard.
Yeah, working hard. Sorry, we haven't been keeping up with the movies. That's kind of why we're doing a Star Wars week, because we know Star Wars and it's a little bit easier. Anyways, I was talking really fast, and I'm going to start talking a little bit more slow. Today for Movie Minutes, we are going to be answering the age-old question from last December of, is the last... Oh, not the last. I don't know why I always call it The Last Skywalker. Is the Rise of Skywalker a good Star Wars movie? And I can go ahead and tell you, if you've been listening to the podcast the past few days, I'm going to say a definitive... Well, I said I'm going to say definitive. I'll say it was fine. It was fine. I'm not gonna go so far to say it was good. It was fine. And if you've been listening, Samuel will say that it is good. So we're going to have a little bit of back and forth
I'm
here.
also, a little in between. But, yeah.
Maybe I can convince
good.
Samuel to come to the dark side.
Maybe so. Or maybe I can convince Jack. Probably not.
Probably not. Anyways.
Do you want to start? You want me to start?
You go ahead and start. I like responding.
Okay, sounds good. Okay, so I'm not a great debater, but I'll just put forth, I guess, I honestly, at the beginning, didn't like the movie. But then, as time went on, I developed opinions in my mind. I think I've come to the point where I've at least reconciled it within the Star Wars canon as being an acceptable movie. And here's why. I like just the overall aspect of it shows that the Chosen One isn't just one person. And that's why I didn't like it, I think, originally from the beginning, is that I was like, Anakin's always been the Chosen One. Even like Darth Vader brings balance to the Force by throwing the Emperor into the reactor. But it's like, it's not just about him. It's about the overall Chosen One arc of like, Anakin can be the Chosen One. So can Luke. Luke can be the Chosen One and bring balance for a time. And then Rey can bring balance. I think that's a really beautiful picture. I'm fine with just like the basic plots of the story. My argument against like the Emperor coming back, I'm fine with that because he's come back before they canonize stuff and like dump some stuff out. He came back, and essentially the way he did it in the past was he had clones and he moved his Force essence and spirit into those clones. I'm still a little bit shady on the exact details of how that works within the context of this movie. But in some way, he's been Force reanimated. I'm okay with that as a possibility. I like getting to see Princess Leia's lightsaber. That's pretty cool. I'm fine with her being a Jedi. I'll go ahead and say I don't like when Rey and Kylo kiss at the end. So I'll agree with you on that point, Jack. Right out of the gate. I assume you don't like that. I think that was unnecessary. Honestly, I didn't really need for Kylo Ren to be redeemed at all. But I do like the overall message of the movie just being like, Skywalker isn't about a family name. It doesn't matter if you're a Palpatine or who you are. There's always like someone there who's got to bring balance to the dark and the light. And I like that she has the yellow lightsaber at the end because that's like the color of the Jedi Sentinels. They're like the protectors and guardians of the temple. And I think that's a cool image that like we see her as a guardian of the Force and what that life means. So I guess that's just my general argument for why I like it.
But
right,
does she bring balance to the Force by defeating the Sith?
I don't know. It seems like, I don't know. So go ahead with your argument. I'm ready.
Well, if I know that you're a big fan of the balance in the Force, as you said earlier in the week with Ahsoka. You liked how she kind of left the Jedi and kind of took on whatever, and brought kind of like a balanced character. So I think in the Star Wars universe, especially, there's this one trippy episode of Clone Wars where you see that like the Sith and the Jedi are needed to create a balance in the Force, right?
Yeah.
But they're always in competition. Mainly the Sith trying to get. It seems like the Jedi are more defensive, and the Sith are more offensive. But at the end of the Rise of Skywalker, does she bring balance to anything by destroying all of the Sith?
That is an excellent question. I don't know, and it's like, I guess that's true from a perspective. Um, but like, I guess I would say just like, I think she's a guardian of the Force at that point. And it's like, I don't know, she brings balance for a time. Just like before Luke brought balance for a time, or Anakin brings balance for a time as Darth Vader by throwing the Emperor into the pit. So I don't know. I am comfortable with ebbs and flows of the dark side being more in control, the light side being more in control. It's a constant, ever moving, I don't know, yin yang between the two.
Yeah, but did Darth Vader bring whatever equality or balance to the Force if he didn't actually kill the Emperor? He sacrificed himself killing the Emperor, throwing him in a reactor pit, like, and then the whole Death Star 2 exploded. Darth Vader died for nothing apparently because he didn't actually kill the Emperor. And if the Emperor can regenerate himself like that, who's to say that like any Jedi can? Like, I would understand if the Emperor came back as like a Sith Force ghost, but he came back and like he's old. His body's falling apart. I think that's supposed to be the same body that he had in Return of the Jedi.
Yeah. Well, I would say we have to remember that his master is Darth Plagueis, who originally kind of discovered the Sith power of stopping people from dying. So he's able to kind of keep his body animated even when it's so decrepit and rotting and falling apart. I understand where you're coming from, and I don't totally disagree, but I think I've just reconciled it in my heart that it's like, I think he's a pure manifestation of what the Sith really looks like on the inside, even with like, you see like the bones in his fingers and stuff like that.
I just feel like it's coming to the point where Star Wars is like a freaking sitcom or like just daytime television where they kill characters off and then they're like, oh, they're not actually dead. Like, I'm surprised they haven't brought back Qui-Gon Jinn. They brought back Darth Maul. Darth Maul got freaking cut in half and thrown into a, like, I don't even know what. And then they're like, oh, he fell into like a dumpster and survived. And then he was rescued by his brother. What? What? Yeah. I mean, I guess I can be happy that they brought his character back or whatever, but that does not make sense at all if you watch the movie. And that's the same thing. That's the same thing. Qui-Gon Jinn dies. Obi-Wan avenges him by killing Darth Maul. Except for Obi-Wan doesn't kill Darth Maul. I know you can say, go watch Rebels, Obi-Wan kills Darth Maul. I know you can say that.
That's true.
Another one of the things that I really disliked about The Rise of Skywalker, and this can be seen in The Force Awakens too, I think J.J. Abrams was obsessed with redoing and George Lucas was obsessed with this too if you look at the prequels, but it's redoing what was done in the original trilogy. And I think that he took some liberties to do that in this movie. If you look at The Force Awakens, it's not a shot for shot from The New Hope, but it's very similar. I think they did a lot of stuff in The Rise of Skywalker just to echo what happened in The Return of the Jedi. If you look at it, Rey has some confrontation from the dark side, but it never even feels like she's actually tempted by the dark side. Let's just be honest here.
Yeah, I'd agree with that. That's a little bit sad. I wish it was more tempting for her.
I think that was I thought that was pretty weak because it was never like, oh, I'm going to join the dark side. Like, she freaking shot lightning out of her hands and it's like, oh, I'm not going to join the dark side. I'm going to go heal this freaking snake thing underground. What the heck? Why did they decide to bring that as a power? I'm
okay with that power.
But force healing has never been done, and then they tried to do a 1-2 punch with Baby Yoda doing it and then Rey doing it, and that's like you don't just like bring that in, you know?
I guess so. I think the Force has many powers that, well, the Emperor would say some consider to be unnatural, but um, but I'm okay with like other powers that we don't really know about. Um, yeah, I agree with like I think her temptation isn't very compelling, and that's just like it's not super high on my rank of movies. But I do think there are redeemable aspects. But I agree with those aspects that you mentioned not being too good. Um, I'm trying to think of what else I was gonna say.
Okay,
Yeah, I
I was
yeah.
gonna say I
Go
hated
ahead.
how they made Snoke a puppet. They wanted to make everything like it was Darth Sidious working in the shadows. Uh, they
Hmm.
they have like this obsession with making him the big bad in every single arc, even when he's not in the first two movies. They're they were just like, oh, he's pulling the strings because they had to do that. Kylo Ren should have been the big bad. If they wanted to have a big twist, the twist should have been that Rey turns bad and Kylo turns evil, which would have been fine. I would have enjoyed for that. I would have watched that movie. I would have enjoyed that movie, but it was just so predictable for them to freaking bring back the Emperor, who was thrown. I can't stress enough that he is dead gone. He's dead, and they decided to bring him back, and he has this freaking giant fleet of ships with the giant weapons for the sole purpose of redoing the Return of the Jedi, where there's a giant space fight at the end. They just wanted to have they just wanted to have a callback to that. They just wanted to have
I
symmetry.
I think George Lucas would argue, and I would argue along with him that that's the whole point. Is there's supposed to be echoes and reflections all throughout the galaxy because that's how the Force works, and that's why their harmonies and their consistencies and their repetitions, which I know isn't going to sway you,
But
but that's how I see it.
that makes sense to me. But the fact of the matter is that they took so many liberties. They did so much stuff that didn't make sense in order to make that happen. Like if it would have logically happened where like you see like and like you could even done this in post credit scenes for crying out loud, but you see like you hear like the Emperor's laugh at the like in a post credit scene at the end of Force Awakens, kind of foreshadowing that
Hmm.
he might still be alive. Uh, like there's a post credit scene at the end of the Last Jedi. You see him like building up his fleets. It's
Hmm.
just pop out of nowhere. The Emperor's back. He has this giant fleet of ships, and they're gonna destroy everybody. It didn't make sense to me.
Gotcha. Well, I think that's fair. I think the ships, I actually don't know if they're real. Like, I don't know if the people within them are actually real. I'm still really confused by that because you don't see their faces, and I can't tell if they're force manifestations. Even like the crowd of like Sith people that are all like sitting there watching him and Rey battle at the end. I don't know if they're real either or not. Um, but I guess that's kind of like I think it's supposed to be a manifestation of his power. Um, ultimately, like I agree to a good extent with you, Jack. I don't think it's a great movie. I think there are a lot of weird plot points that are either trying to fix The Last Jedi. I don't know. In a way, I see The Last Jedi as being the fatal blow to The Rise of Skywalker. I think if that had been done in a different way, we wouldn't end up with a a Return of the Jedi esque movie because I think Ryan Johnson, for I'll give him credit, he wanted to do something different than Empire Strikes Back, even though in some ways it was similar. I'll give him credit for that, but the way he did it scared fans to the point where I think they wanted to play it safe, and they had a safe ending, just like before, and that's kind of sad. But I would shift more of that blame to the Last Jedi. I guess is my argument.
Also, why the heck did they had like a double twist ending where it's like, oh, Ray died, blah blah blah. Oh, Kylo comes back, brings her to life. Oh no, Kylo dies. That was so dumb. Why? And it had to be sealed with a kiss because it's Disney.
Hmm. Yeah, that was. I could have really done without that kiss. It could have been so good. In my head the whole time I was like, no, 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 no. There's not a kiss coming. There's not a kiss coming. But I couldn't lie to myself enough to manifest that reality of no kiss.
Yeah, I just did not. I mean, I tried to enjoy it for what it was. I tried
Hmm.
to. I I guess I enjoyed it the first time. Second time I was kind of like, wait a minute, this is ridiculous. third time I was like, this
Mm-hmm.
is watching it a third time is almost unwatchable for me. Anyways,
Yeah,
let's get
I
off of
respect
this.
that. I think I went in the opposite direction, but yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, let's get off of this. I think it's bad. Samuel thinks it was. Samuel thought it was good. Not. Samuel probably
Decent,
doesn't. Yeah, he
at
doesn't think it's
least.
great.
Yeah.
Uh, anyways, it is Friday. That means our podcast is done for the week. But since it is Star Wars week, we wanted to send you guys home with a little something special. Go ahead and pop onto our YouTube channel tomorrow. I think the username is just my name, Jack
Mm-hmm.
Stemart. So if you YouTube search Jack Stemart, it'll pop up. We are going to do an extra video only on YouTube where Samuel shows me some Star Wars characters, some deep cuts, and I assume some of them are going to be pretty funny. Go ahead and watch that. It'll
Yeah.
be do us a big favor. If you don't know we have a YouTube channel, we post all of our podcasts onto our YouTube channel with video. But yeah, so tomorrow 6 a.m. it's going live. Go ahead and give it a watch.